promised, I told you I would do a movie review on The Little Mermaid, which has been making a lot of traction these past few weeks now. And also, how can I say, it definitely is still filled with the controversial discussions here and there. But hey, today we're talking about the movie. All the good parts and all the bad parts that I thought were in the film. And we'll see how you feel about this after it's done, and I will give my rating on it. And this time it won't be like a 1 through 10 rating. This time it will be A through F rating. So just sit back for a moment and let's get into this review, shall we? As timeless of a story as it has been a masterpiece in film animation, we are going to dive deep into the movie review of Disney's The Little Mermaid, the live-action remake directed by Rob Marshall, starring Halle Bailey, Jonah Hara-King, Daveed Diggs, Awkwafina, Jacob Tremblay, Noma Dumezwini, Art Malik, Javier Bardem, and Melissa McCarthy. The movie has came out on May 26th. In case you don't know the story, it is about a young mermaid who wishes to come up on land and be a part of the human world against her father's demands, who falls in love with a human prince and will do anything to be with him on land. Let me first start off by saying that we all know how Disney remakes can be, being like shot-for-shot carbon copies of the original. And true, this film may be no different in regards to that, but I honestly feel that there is a lot lying, how can I say, beneath the surface than one would originally think just watching it the first time. And plus, it was nice to see all the characters that we know and love in a different lighting. Oh, and I should also say before I go any further, there are going to be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch the film and come back later. Don't worry, I'll still be here. So the movie starts with a quote from Hans Christian Andersen that basically says, "But a mermaid has no tears, and therefore she suffers so much more." And to give a little context on that quote, in Andersen's story, the Little Mermaid, just like in the movie, does come up to land with human legs after the deal she has made with the Sea Witch. However, things sort of go downhill from that point for her. What ends up happening is when she does find the prince and he invites her to stay in his palace with him, he does not know that she is the one that saved his life. He thinks it's somebody else that saved his life. Presumably a girl from the convent on the beach where the mermaid left him after she saved him. And he wishes to find and marry her. And unable to tell him that she was the one that saved his life because she has no voice, day by day she goes through the motions of him growing fondness for her, but never falling in love with her. And when the prince does find the convent girl he believes saved his life, he does not hesitate to marry her. And the Little Mermaid could do nothing but watch as her dreams of being with the prince start fading away, along with her potential death come into fruition. No one knew that she was suffering through all of this except for herself. In the movie, the Ariel that we meet, played by the truly amazing Halle Bailey, she is going through her own share of suffering throughout the film, even in the beginning when she's just a mermaid. Not feeling heard or understood by her father, not being able to pursue her passions freely without being scolded and judged for it. And yes, she is the daughter of a king and a princess of the sea, but no one is really hearing her out. They are only telling her what should she do and what she should enjoy. Sort of making me think of Princess Jasmine in a way. But I guess there's no surprise there since they're both descendants of the Disney Renaissance era. So there you have it. And in the movie, this element of not being heard ties directly into her singing voice, her siren song, her mermaid gift, as they call it in the film. When Halle Bailey, as Ariel, starts to sing A Part of Your World, this is the moment where she is truly letting it all out after keeping it all pent up inside of her for so long. Or that's how it felt to me. That she finally is saying what she wants after keeping it all deep down inside of her because she has been shunned from expressing that or talking about it. And really, I felt like Halle Bailey killed it with the song, how she sang it, because it really showed that more so in this film. In the animated film, it was beautiful. She was basically, that was her I want song and her expressing what she wanted. But in this movie, it felt like when Halle Bailey was singing it, it felt like she was really struggling trying to express what it is that she wanted and the things that she wants to do, because it felt raw to me in a very good way. As the movie goes on, she does end up giving up her voice to Ursula, who is the sea witch and also her aunt in the film. Very interesting. Partly, I think, because she felt like, what's the big deal of having this beautiful siren song voice that I have when really, aside from my singing, I'm not being allowed to really speak with it anyway? What's the big deal of having a voice? If I can achieve my goal of going to land and having human legs, that would be much better than having this voice, because I'm not really heard anyway. That's my opinion on that. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think, why she was willing to give up her voice so easily. But in doing so, she would lose the one proof that she would have to show Prince Eric that she was the girl that saved his life. Speaking of Prince Eric, let's talk about him for a little bit. In this movie, he is played by the talented Jonah Harking. And I really felt like in this movie, the actor really gave him more personality here. In this film, Eric is not a prince by blood. He is a prince because he was adopted into the royal family of the island which he lives on after he was lost to a shipwreck. So he is pretty much an adoptive son to the queen, who is still alive. The king, he's dead, but the queen, she is very much wanting to keep him away from where he wishes to be at more than anything, which is the sea. He was saved from a shipwreck when he was very young, and now in his adult years, he longs for nothing more than to explore the uncharted waters, you could say, and to explore other places to help keep his kingdom up with the times and keep them up with different things that are out there in the world. This is where I felt that Ariel and Eric's characters really could connect. This was where I saw them not just as love interests, but kind of like inverses of each other that do end up fitting together. They both long to explore other worlds, learn about them, and connect with them. Let's talk about the other characters now. Starting with King Triton, played by Javier Bardem, who I thought was really good as Triton. He wasn't the, how can I say, enigmatic, dominant, loud in a way that you cannot ignore him type of King Triton. He was more, I felt he was more subtle in this film, and in a way I kind of like that, because it felt like there was a quiet dominance to his character that he doesn't have to get loud for you to get the point that, yeah, you're going to do what I tell you to do, whether you like it or not, kind of vibe. And I found that pretty good and nuanced and pretty much more realistic, in my opinion. Or if not realistic, just definitely a different way of showing how Triton can be still seen as a threatening, or if not threatening, just a figure of authority in a different way. And I thought it was effective. And Ursula the Sea Witch, played by the wonderfully comedic Melissa McCarthy, was just fantastic. I felt that she stole the movie every time she came on screen, and not in a bad way at all. And I loved the design of her character and how the octopus legs that she have, how they kind of moved around like how a actual octopus's legs would move around in the ocean, in the sea. I love that, and it didn't make her look weird. It just made her look like she was definitely blended into the environment that she is in the sea, and also what she is, which is half woman, half octopus. And I thought that was just brilliant. Honestly, she was one of the best parts of the movie for me. And when she sings, "Poor unfortunate souls," I don't think she disappointed at all. I think she did a awesome and bang up job on that song. I mean, now keep in mind, I don't think that her version could ever replace the excellent job that Pat Carroll did in the original as Ursula. Never, but she did a great job on this song. Daveed Diggs as Sebastian, I thought he was great. I really felt like his voice acting was really good as Sebastian and everything. And also Awkwafina as Scuttle, I thought was a brilliant choice, because I mean, both Scuttle, he is very much a loudmouth even when you don't want him to be, and let's just say Awkwafina can definitely pull that off. So I had no problem with the gender switch on that. However, with Sebastian, I felt like he was not that young, but he felt a little younger to me in this version, unlike the animated one, where I could see Sebastian in the animated one being almost like a actual father, a crab father figure to Ariel when her dad is not around. But in this movie, he felt almost more like a older brother or something along the lines of that. But it was still good though. I have to talk about Noma Dumezweni as Queen Selena, Eric's adoptive mother. I found her character to be very interesting, because it seemed at times like she knew more about the sea than she was letting on at times. And that also could possibly play into more why she doesn't care for Eric to be out in the sea, whether he's sailing or not. And you understand her concern for her son pretty much in the same way you would understand King Triton's concern for Ariel. It was pretty much the same thing, just flipped in a way. And so that's why I really found her character interesting, because she was almost just like King Triton, just trying to do what she thinks is best for her child to keep him safe and keep him living a happy life. Now let's quickly get into some basic stuff here, like the visuals. I was truly fascinated by how the under the sea world looked in live action, mixed with visual effects done by very big namers who you may have seen their visual works done in films like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, and also, of course, Avatar. I felt very much immersed watching the film in 3D. The lighting wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Happy to be wrong with that. Like the under the sea sequences, I felt like the light more so matched the time of day that was happening during those scenes. Like it would definitely be a little bit darker when it was nighttime versus the daytime where it was definitely much lighter. I very much felt that the under the sea sequence was bursting with light. So I thought the lighting was just fine. I also thought that the sound design was very well done from what I could catch, which was majority of it. However, I felt that the pacing of the film was a little bit too long for my taste, and I understand why they chose to do it that way because it definitely felt like a two-act structure where the first act you have Ariel being a mermaid for that act, and then when it gets to act 2 it's her being on land with her human legs, and then leading up to the climax and then the end resolution kind of thing. So I could understand it, but honestly, I still felt like it was too long and that they could have narrowed some stuff down a little bit. The filmmaking style I thought was incredible, especially when it came to the under the sea sequences. When we go into the sea, the different twists and turns that the camera makes as we enter in, and also the nice wide shots that happen when we're following certain characters. Thought it was amazing. When it comes to the themes of the story, they're pretty much like how I stated in my reaction to the film, that they're pretty much the same as the original. Yes, they added a little bit more to it, like as far as adding more emphasis to overcoming racial, or in this case, species prejudice, while the other themes involved are wanting to be a part of another world and our actions have consequences, um, making your own choices, your own decisions, and essentially growing up. And also I can't forget this other one, which has always been a factor in The Little Mermaid, is self-sacrifice for love. As far as the ending of the movie, I won't be spoiling anything for the ending in this video. I really like the way they chose to do the ending for The Little Mermaid, or at least this live action version, because it was very, how can I say, not like the traditional, okay, we're gonna do this all out finale as we always do, like how it was in the animated film. This one was more kind of like a, how can I say, a bittersweet, just a little bit, but uplifting ending. And it was, I thought it was really nice how they chose to end this film. Okay, lovelies, let's wrap things up here. So, to nail it down, when it comes to Disney remakes, it has always been hard for me to judge those films because, or really even just criticize the films, because I am pretty much on the outside looking in. I'm still learning more each day about how films are made and how CGI works and all that other stuff that comes with it. So it really is not that easy for me to see for sure the things that people like or dislike when it comes to them, besides the obvious stuff that stand out to everyone. In this case of The Little Mermaid, I can honestly say that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I really did. Yes, there were a couple little, how can I say, distractions here and there. Like when you see Ariel's hair in certain scenes, it kind of looked more like it was CGI'd in a way, more so than it was her actually Holly's hair. And there were moments that felt like were very much slow spots that we didn't need, but it wasn't too distracting that it ruined the film for me. And I cannot forget to talk about the music really briefly. I thought that the music was pretty good, and Lin-Manuel Miranda was a was a good collab to bring in to help bring these songs to the live action remake. So I have no complaints with the music. Okay, like I said before, since this is a review and not a reaction, my I will be giving not a number of how I thought this movie was. I will be giving a grade of how I thought this film was, from plus A to minus F, which of course, plus A being astounding, fantastic, have no complaints about it whatsoever, and minus F being the worst and awful, and I definitely do not want to see this movie ever again kind of grading. So I give this movie a solid B plus. For a Disney remake, I thought this was really good. And to be honest, that says a lot, because I really haven't been able to say that in a long time when it came to these movies. And when I say a long time, I probably would have to say since maybe Beauty and the Beast. And so it was awesome. So if you think about seeing this movie, I highly recommend it. If you don't enjoy the story of the film, you'll definitely enjoy the songs in the movie. So highly recommend, y'all. If you like this movie review, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys want to see me do more movie reviews, let me know down in the comment section below. See you next time, lovelies. And just in case y'all didn't see, I am wearing my Little Mermaid shirt. So if that didn't give you a sign that I love this film, then you know now.